How to Win Friends and Influence People. One of the best books I've read. Let me give you a summary.
Upgrades.
Now, this book right here by Dale Carnegie probably changed my life the most. I got this book about 10 years ago now, and it's been amazing, right? If you haven't read it, you have to go for it, right? And here's a couple of lessons I've learned from it. So let's break it down real quick, and I'll tell you how you can win friends and influence people. Lesson 1. You can't win an argument. No, it's impossible to win an argument, even if you are successful in the debate. At the end of the day, an argument, it only has one winner, right? When you're arguing with somebody, you either win and the other person feels like crap all day, or they win and you feel like crap. Now, that's not how we should be living life. It's not the way we should portray other human beings. And, I think it's just an evil, spiteful way to do things. If you want to have the best life possible, a great tip my mum gave me is treat people how you wish to be treated. So in the steps of an argument, there's a few things you can do to make sure you stay in control, stay level-headed. You don't have to win, but you need to get your point across. Never tell somebody they are wrong, right? Ask questions instead. For example, if there was a log chopper chopping up logs and the customer says, these logs aren't worth £200, what are you going to do as the log chopper? Turn around and say, yes they are, no they're not, yes they are, no they're not. Dale breaks it down with a real simple question. Now, the wood chopper turns to the customer and says, hey, why do you think this isn't worth 200? I'll tell you why. This is why. Okay, well let me tell you why this is that. This is where discussion comes into play. You do not need to tell them they are wrong, because at the end of the day they might come up with a very valid reason to why they are right, and you should intake this as advice, as a level up in your game character, because there's no point sitting there thinking you've won. If you've won, you haven't learned anything. You haven't seen anyone else's opinions, and that's what opinions are for us to see. So take a step back, ask them why they don't agree, and you never know, you might both end up on the same page and both get a victory out of this. Remember people's names. Now that's lesson 2, because if you don't do this, you're already failing, because people will not take you seriously if you haven't even bothered to remember their name. I know it sounds silly and everyone forgets names all the time, but this is where you need to use the Baker technique to relate it. Baker, Mr. Tim Baker. Baker reminds me of a baker. Buns, I love buns, ham sandwiches from my favourite bakery. Imagine Tim worked there, that would be fun. Now I'll never forget Tim Baker's name because I've got a picture, a story behind it. He's not Baker, but I'll remember his name, and you can do this with multiple different names, however you need to do to build that story in, because a story sticks in your brain. It loves a story. So when you can relate things, names, places to stories, it will just help you remember that much more. Next lesson, talk in terms of others' interests, not your own, okay? I know we're all very self-centered and we love what we love and we like what we like, but when you're talking with people, it's very easy to get distracted with your own premise. You need to ask them, what do you like? And when they've given you this list of answers, expand on it. The same as you would do with anyone that you're trying to win over, but do this with empathy, like you want to know the person. This is the whole part of being that person people remember, is that they can trust you to want to hear what they have to say, instead of, nodding away, but you're everywhere else. If you can actually stay focused and put some actual personalization into this person and say, hey, I care what you're saying, I care how you're feeling and how this affects you. And I promise you, once you sit there, ask them about their favorite subjects. What do they do at the weekend? Why do they do that at the weekend? Is it for fun, pleasure, business? I don't know. I want to find out because it's interesting me. You need to open up that part of the brain that expresses interest for others. And I know it's difficult. For years, I'm telling you, I could walk past people in the street and I wouldn't care at all. To me, they're a number and a dot, just like the Matrix. But now I look at people with empathy, and I literally, everyone I see, everyone I speak to, I think, what's it like to be them? what's interesting to them. Because we're all people and we've got so much knowledge to share. If you sit there and think you know it all, I'm going to tell you right now, you don't, and nobody does, because every brain is different. This is the simple reason we need so many people in the world, because there's so many different ideas that come together out of the groups of people around. We're just destined for expansion. Amazing brains create amazing opportunities. So just turn yours into an amazing brain and give yourself an amazing opportunity. So, lesson 4, allow other people to take the credit, right? It's not about whose name's on the top of the title. It's not about who's got their name on the leaderboard. It's about the result and what you're getting from it. And what you will find is if you make people feel good about what they have committed to you, they will want to come back and do it again. So give people credit, even if you're the person who's come up with the idea and they somehow feel that in their head they've done it. Let them think that, because that will only make them more efficient at the task at hand. And you will be amazed at what everyone can achieve when you're not bothered about who gets the credit for it. We can expand so much faster and be so much better if we just drop this egotistic value that we need our name tied to every accolade. You don't. You need your name to be tied to your job, to your goals. That's it. You don't need it, and everything in between is just the bridge. You need to get there first before you're bothered about whose name is on the top. It makes no difference to the actual way the world works and the way people are. And if you give people that credit, they will want to work with you again. Lesson 5, talk about your own mistakes before giving others criticism. Now, this is vital if you're in any sort of leadership role, or, even if you're looking after kids in a school. It's vital to get the correct impression across. You need to seem like you were on their side. And, you cannot do this by simply criticizing somebody. You need to make them think you have experienced and felt what they are going through right now. So a great way to do this is actually very simple. Just change the word but for and. For example, if there's a child that's not doing great in their exams, you don't say to them, well, look, you've done okay in these exams, but if you studied harder, you could have done better. See, there's a phrase that comes up, everything before the but doesn't matter, okay? Remember that, because it's vital. As soon as you put but into a sentence, the first half of that sentence is irrelevant. Okay? Because people are concentrating on the matter at hand, the focus point, and that is the but, right? So change it up. If you went back to the same child and said, look, you did okay in your maths exam, and if you study more next year, you'll get better grades. It just seems a lot more approachable. It seems a lot more content and like you actually care. People want to be understood. When you were told off as a child, if somebody said to me, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, I would say, well, I should do this, I should do that. It's not the way. But when somebody said to me, oh yeah, I remember when I used to do that, it was great fun, it didn't lead anywhere for me though, I think you should maybe focus on this and then you'll avoid these problems I had. Then they can see the emotion, they see you know what they're going through, and they can relate to you. It's such a vital part of just giving advice and people accepting the advice, because you can give as much advice as you want, but the fact is, 90% of it's not going anywhere. Lots of people don't want to hear criticism, which is sad, because I think criticism's a great thing. You can learn a lot, you can develop and become a better person with criticism. You just need to learn how to give it and how to take it. Okay, so the last lesson I'm going to go through today is the power of I am, the two most powerful words in the English language, and I honestly believe this. I think if you can commit yourself to saying I am something, you're putting it into the future. If you think you can't do something, if you say I can't do this, you're right, you can't. But if you say I am going to learn how to do this, I believe you. I do. I think you can. And it's ridiculous how many people go through life saying, oh, I'm a failure. Oh, I can't do this. Oh, I'll never be that. No, that's not the way you live life. Look, if you want to stop something, just say, I am not doing this. I am not the person that does this. I am a person that lives healthily. I am a person that goes to the gym. If you say that to yourself enough, you have to go to the gym. You have to. You have to start eating healthily. You can't lie to yourself. It's easy to portray lies to others. But when you sit down by yourself, who are you lying to? Who are you benefiting? You need to be honest, and you need to be positive as well. You need to know that nobody in this world has got to where they are by not being able to do something. They've done it by trying, they've done it by learning, they've done it by getting all of their learnings together, applying them in real life situations, going, even though they're not confident, acting confident, trying to get confident, because the only way you excel is by getting out of your comfort zone and really pushing your boundaries. So just do yourself a favor. Say to yourself, I am good enough. I am great. I am positive in life. I'm going to have a happy future. And I promise you, if you do this, you will. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this one anyway. I'll come back with a few more thoughts on this book because it is such a great book. But please, if you like this one, give it a like and a subscribe, and I'll see you next time.
You're still only human.